Why are most guitar players stuck playing scale shapes? They don't have a good way to connect the fretboard. So in this video, you'll learn my absolute favorite concept to play freely across the whole neck. My name is Simen and I'm a guitarist, music producer and graphic designer from Norway. This concept will sound super simple, and that's because it is. That's also why it actually works so well. But there is one thing you need to make this work, and that is to memorize the notes of the two lowest strings. If you don't know them yet, that's fine. You'll still learn from this video. So the concept is something I call anchoring. It's similar to the cage system, which you might have heard of, but with a few tweaks. To demonstrate, let's say we want to play the pentatonic scale across the whole neck. The normal way to think would be shape 1, then shape 2, shape 3, and so on. The problem with this approach is that you are going to get stuck in scale shapes. And if you suddenly need to change the key, then you need to move all the 5 shapes, and that can be quite tricky. But anchoring means that we use some notes as our anchor points, usually the root notes on the 2 lowest strings. Let's keep playing the A minor pentatonic scale, and because it's A minor, surprise, the root note is A. So step 1 is to find a note A on the 2 lowest strings. These root notes will be your anchors. Before you achieve fretboard freedom, make sure you have something nice to drink. I drink sparkling water. Alright, let's start with the anchor on the low E string. So that's going to be the 5th fret on the low E string. And here's the cool thing. From this root note, you always have shape 1 on the right side of the root note. And shape 5 on the left side. This means if you find the root note on the lowest string, you know you can always play shape 1 and shape 5 from this root note. And let's go to our anchor on the A string. From this root note, you always have shape 4 on the right side. And shape 3 on the left side. So, if you know the root note on the A string, you always know where to play shape 3 and 4. Always. So far, we have covered the root notes on the 2 lowest strings, and from each root note, you always have one shape on each side. By the way, if you wonder what you should work on next on guitar, I made a complete roadmap of all guitar skills to learn in order, from beginner to pro. I'll leave the link in the description. The only shape we haven't covered yet is shape 2. We can find this from the root note on the D string. Or simply remember that this is the next shape after shape 1. But focus on the root notes on the 2 lowest strings first. They're the most important. I promise you, if you start using this anchoring concept, you are going to be able to play much more freely across the fretboard. Because now you don't need to think about 5 individual shapes. But instead, you only have 2 anchors, so not a lot. Obviously, you still need to learn the scale shapes, but the difference is that you find your anchors first. Very important. This is actually just the tip of the iceberg, and therefore I want to give you another useful tip. Because anchoring can also be used for finding chords and arpeggios across the whole fretboard. Let's say we want to play A minor 7 across the whole neck. Then step 1 is to find the root note A on the 2 lowest strings. And here, from each of the root notes, we always have one chord on each side. So from the root note on the low E string, on the left side we have this chord. On the right side we have this chord. Next, let's go to the root note on the A string. On the left side we have this chord. And right side we have this chord. We have talked about a lot, so let's conclude the most important things to remember about anchoring. First, find the root note on the two lowest strings. These will be your anchors. Secondly, you always have one shape on each side of the root notes. This can be scale shapes, chords, or arpeggios. In the next video, I talk about how to actually get good at guitar in 5 steps. And since you made it to the end, you are a special snowflake. Bye!